Hello, Tom LeVecchia here with the latest edition of the New Theory podcast. Today, we got a very special guest in the house. Really excited because I doing more and more e-commerce lately, and the e-commerce space is growing by leaps and bounds, obviously, but also the technology within the space is changing dynamically. Vlad, and let me make sure I say this correctly, Varizhuk.
Yeah, it's close enough. Definitely appreciate you having me on here.
Well, he's a founder, CEO of Enopoly, an e-commerce automation platform and industry leader. Cool thing is this guy is a boxer, self-made entrepreneur, and he really kind of takes a different approach philosophically towards e-commerce. Vlad, welcome to the New Theory podcast. How you doing today, buddy?
Doing great, man. How about yourself, Tom?
I am well. So let's jump into it. Give us kind of your background and why did you get the e-commerce bug?
Well, mainly because I was bored. I didn't like school. I dropped out to pursue boxing. That didn't work out. Tried different business ventures, MLM, insurance. Had plenty of different jobs, serving, baking cupcakes, selling cars. And one day I just kind of, I bought a course a few years back, learned about e-commerce, and it just kind of snowballed from there. Really, it wasn't a choice. It just kind of landed in my lap at the end of the day.
It's going to sound stupid, but I'm going to give you what I really like. A lot of people I know, they buy courses, right? And I hate to say this, but most of the people that I've been dealing with are just professional course goers. Oh, I got Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I got Grant Cardone's, and I got whoever. And it's like, you're not an entrepreneur, you're just a course goer. They're the entrepreneurs, right? I like the fact that you found the course and you decided to get into e-commerce. So why don't you give us a little bit of, for those especially are the either newer to e-commerce or thinking about getting into e-commerce, give us kind of the first step of, you know what, I really want to get into either whether it be drop shipping or e-commerce business. What should the first step be for that individual?
Yeah, it really comes down to, the resources that you have. I mean, is this your first business? Is this your 10th business that you're getting into? The connections. There's so many different business models when it comes to e-commerce. Like you named one, drop shipping, right? You could drop ship on eBay, Amazon, Walmart, Shopify, right? Like you got so many different options. I don't do drop shipping currently on the larger platforms like Amazon or Walmart or anything like that. But when it comes to it, like I guess I would say if you're brand new and this is something you're trying to try out, I would start with a platform like Amazon, and I would try to do something like wholesale or private label. Really, again, depending on the resources behind you, if you have the capital to start a private label, or maybe you should start off with a wholesale and then build up from there. At the end of the day, e-commerce, it's a lot of people think just because it's an online business, they think it's easy, or it's
far from it.
Clicks on the website and you're good to go. Like a lot of these ads show, oh, you could build a Shopify store with just a few clicks, and we have pre-built templates for you. Well, yeah, but then you got to generate traffic, and then you have to figure out what products are selling, what people want, right? You got to pick one that you like, do your research in different models, and then just start and try it, because not everything will work out. Like, never does. You're gonna fail.
What would you prefer for somebody? You know what? I'm an expert in this space. I'm making this up, hair care, this, that, whatever. And they're an expert. They're in the niche. They love it. And they're able to acquire product however they acquire it.
Yeah.
But make much less margin. Or would you rather them search for the higher margin stuff and say, you know what, I don't care what I'm selling, I can make a lot more margin on it, and then once you make money, roll it into your passion? Because that's where it's kind of the rubber meets the road. What do you think about that, Vlad?
I mean, that's what I do. I don't care about anything like that I specifically own or I like. I sell stuff that makes money. So that's the way I think about business. And if I'm in business for the money, that's simple as that. And most people won't admit that. So if it was me, I'd be looking at, okay, what's the highest profit margin and what's the fastest cash on cash return?
Okay. What do you like? So I'm on the marketing side of e-commerce, right? And whenever people approach us and they want to do marketing, if it's not on Amazon, I'm like, listen, do you have a 70% gross margin? I'm not, I don't want them to be piggish. It's just that for us to market it and the acquisition cost, plus you need some profit and overhead. That's kind of what we recommend. And I know it's easier said than done, but what's your kind of gross margin criteria for products when people approach you?
So so the way we do product research, because we do Amazon FBA wholesale, a little bit of private label, but not as much.
So hold on. So you could accept less margin for that then?
So we look for products that are within 40 to 50% margin. Now
Correct, because you
that's
get away with that. So,
yeah,
like, you'll pay the 17-18% to Amazon plus the FBA, leaves a
exactly.
little left over. Okay, so that may I didn't mean to cut you off, but I'm just trying to give you where I'm at. And okay, finish that. And then my follow up question is, once you're done, is where can I look for products? Give us some resources.
Right. So yeah, I mean, we're looking at products between the 40 and 50% after we pay Bezos's yacht fund, the FBA fees and everything. Yeah, typically 15-20% is what we're making. Sometimes less, sometimes even more. But that's kind of like the goal that we're aiming for. And the way we don't necessarily like we do product research a little bit differently. We first go out and look for suppliers, wholesalers, distributors, brands. We reach out to them and we make wholesale accounts with them. And then from there, they will send us their catalog. And that's when we actually begin product research because we know for a fact we're getting these prices at the lowest possible cost where distributors are getting them. And then we know exactly, okay, we can make money on this. What's it selling for on Amazon? What's it selling for on Walmart or Facebook, for instance? And then we know where to list them or if that product's worth being listed.
Okay, so I'm with you on that, right? So we're going to sell something, but it already is on Amazon and is in the buy box. Do you
Yeah.
come in FBA it for a lower price? What are some of the strategies to employ in that situation?
So not necessarily. I mean, part of it is also you got to look at the demand of the market on Amazon because like you can have a product that 10 people, 15 people are selling on Amazon, but it doesn't mean they're meeting the demand of Amazon. It doesn't mean that they have optimized listing. Doesn't mean they have good descriptions. Doesn't mean they have good pictures. So we look at all of that. We look at okay, well, if this unit, for instance, is selling for or selling 2,000 units a month, and you got 10 sellers on it, but combined inventory is only about 1,500. Okay, well, we know we could enter the market at 500 units, and we're guaranteed to make sales. And it's not about the price either. Like, yeah, Amazon says, yeah, it's all about the price, but it's not because if your stores have better reviews, more age, and buy the products at even a cheaper price, sometimes the reviews and the age will actually count more than the price. So we like to actually increase the price where we can on stores to increase the profit margin because we know we can.
I love it. Okay. So because, and you stop me if I'm wrong, is Amazon is very distrusting. And when they do FBA, they'll take what you have to give, but they'll limit it to see if they want to sell. So if there is an increased demand for something and there's only a few small suppliers, there's a very good chance you'll hit that buy box. Is that a good strategy to maybe look for like niche things that they're not going to hold a lot of, and maybe there's a better
Right.
chance of getting sold through?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's
I mean,
smart.
we're selling products that like you can't even think of, like that you would ever need, but hundreds of thousands of people buy every month. Like little pieces for under the sink, right? Or like a pool pump or whatever, right?
Yeah.
You don't think about that, but people buy that all year round.
Love it. Okay. So you hire whether Enopoly or a company, and you do all the platforms. You're on Amazon, you're Rakuten, eBay, whatever, right? You're on other platforms, right?
Yeah.
But you also want to look to build a brand. Let's say you have a private label product, you brand it yourself, and you're looking to kind of create a brand, right? How hard is it to get a new product, even though it's the same thing, honestly, but it's a new product, new brand onto Amazon? If it's in, let's say, the skincare space and stuff, do you like how does that work?
Well,
Hey Amazon, how do you get that on?
yeah, I've never created a brand. I
Got
would
it.
not be able to answer the question like that. This is something where I'm debating on should I research more into creating brands or take brands that are already on and make them exclusive because that's kind of like
Oh,
that's what's happening with Amazon. What we've noticed because Amazon's going through lots of lawsuits right now. And one of them, I don't know the details of, it, but I was on a call with a bunch of sellers, and basically the way it was described is Amazon's getting basically sued as being an monopoly because what they're doing is they're literally stealing the seller's information and overtaking it. And it's either they have to either decide, all right, are they going to only support the third party sellers, or are they only going to support their own brand, which is, Amazon's brand, because Amazon, goes out and has their own brand. So I think what's going to be happening is, and also lots of brands are moving to exclusivity because of quality control.
Got it.
So what a lot of brands are going to be going into is they're not going to want 10 different sellers or 15 different sellers. They're going to want maybe one or two. So what we're focused on right now is actually locking in brands and only have one or two stores ever sell them.
Got it, because you'll if you get exclusivity or get where that is, or you're more of a grower, right? So like you may find a brand that's underperforming, acquire it, or get distribution rights, and then do that. So that part I get. Let's talk about offsite. So you may not necessarily build brands per se, right? But you want to sell products on an offsite. Don't get me wrong, 17% acquisition cost isn't bad for Amazon. You're happy to give that up, but we're entrepreneurs, and if you have a good SEO team or a good marketing team, you might be able to beat it. Or you want to own the customer information and maybe say, hey, I'll take 25% acquisition cost, but I want to own the customer information. I'm big on owning the end-to-end, right? That's why Jeff Bezos is so rich. People think like, oh, they're making their 20%, but they're owning the end-to-end, right?
Right.
Are you a Spotify guy? Let me rent the site. Or are you a WordPress guy? Do you like to go big with like a Magento still kind of bopping around? I don't even know if they use them anymore. Offsite, what are you agnostic? Offsite, what technologies do you like for an offsite website that you sell your stuff?
So when it comes to actually selling products, we don't use offsite websites. We don't.
So you just stick strictly to the platforms and then optimize said platforms.
Right.
Okay.
Because it works. It works for us really well, and there's kind of no reason to diversify yet.
Oh no, I tell you right now, people come to me all the time. Part of the reason why we don't do as much e-commerce as we do as a marketing firm is I'm honest. Like they're like, I want to sell on Amazon and all these places. Great. And here's some great technologies. We'll talk about Enopoly in a second. And great ways to market off-site and all great. Even Amazon has a great PPC program. Again, all great stuff. But then they come to us and they're like, well, I want to set up my own website and I want to, Amazon's charging me 20%. I'll give you 20% to get me sales. And I'm like, it doesn't work that way. It's going to be 80% at first, and then it's going to be 40%, and it's going to be 20%. And then they're like, no, but like Amazon does it. Well, do you have the $1 trillion budget Amazon has? So I like the fact that you're, I call it an inch wide, mile deep. I like that a lot about you guys, and it shows a certain level of discipline. Tell us about Enopoly. What does it do?
Yeah, and to finish that, it really like the type of clients that we work with, half of them don't even know how to log into their own store. They're looking for, all right, what did I spend this month? How much did I make? What's the return on my investment?
Correct.
As long as the numbers are, and it's crazy because you look at like hedge funds and real estate, in 12, 8, 15% a year. Clients are doing that on a monthly basis, some of them.
Yep.
So it just makes no sense to diversify. But when it comes to, I would say Enopoly, what was your question? I'm sorry, repeat it.
No, so where does Enopoly fit in? Tell us a little bit about your service and what you guys do.
Yeah, so we're for people that have more money than time.
Yeah.
So it really comes down to, we build on platforms. We could switch the platform anytime. Like if, for instance, Amazon goes down, who cares? There's other platforms to sell on. So we don't stick to just one. We offer many different ones. But what we do is we help you start the business. Like my e-com reps will help you create the LLC if you don't know how to create an LLC, whatever the case is. We'll get you on the platform. And then from there, we begin the product research. We begin the negotiations with the suppliers. We do everything from A to Z.
Oh, wow.
From step zero, you have an LLC, to you have a store that has products that's selling and giving you consistent monthly cash flow. So you can think of us like a builder, a property builder, and also property manager at the same time. So we'll build your property, we'll build your digital real estate, and we'll manage it and we'll scale it.
And then is it what a fixed base plus a variable fee, or you don't give exact fees, but what's the fee structure like?
So yeah, the contracts as of right now range from 30 to 50 grand to get started.
Yeah,
That's for service, and then from there, depending on the contract, is your profit split with us. So whether we're taking 50% of the profit from the business, 40% or 30%.
what is the average time for me to get my money back? Is it 18 months? Or what's the average time it
It
shows?
really just depends on how much working capital a client comes in with. Because one, you have the service fee for us to get started. Then from there, clients can come in with $30,000 for purchasing products, or some clients come in with a few $100,000 in
Got it.
um, for purchasing power. So that's going to really dictate, okay, how long is it going to take you to make your money back? So it could be, some people can do it within just I don't even like to say it, but yes, it can happen in 6 months. But in reality, the way I like to tell people about it is like, think of it as a year and a half to 2 years.
Yeah, that's why I said 18 months, because if I invest in a business or invest in something like that, I'm not stupid. I know 6 months is a little lofty, but I'd be comfortable with breaking even at 18 months and then start seeing some positive
Yeah,
thereafter.
because the clients are coming in with more working capital. I can get them to more exclusive deals with suppliers and just
Got it.
get even better relations. It really just depends on their situation.
What's your biggest success to date? You don't have to get a company, but give us an example, use case where just you knocked it out of the park.
um, I mean, one of my biggest goals last year was achieved. I bought a yacht.
Oh, God bless. Oh, personal goal. Nice.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
yeah, that was.
Congratulations.
I mean, it's a bit. Don't get me wrong. I bought it for a business, for a chartering business. So, to me, that was incredible, because I always thought I was gonna be like 35, 40 years old and I would get one, but I ended up doing it at, what was I, 27. So that was pretty
God
cool.
bless. I love it. So, but I love to hear about people's success stories and how they do well. There's a lot of people out there don't want you to do well. I love to celebrate success, but I want to specifically nail down. Give us an example of a customer reached out and whatever the situation was, and maybe again example use
Oh yeah,
case.
100%. And that's actually what my YouTube is for. I have a post majority of my client testimonials on there. Clients, and honestly, whenever you have a client that has money and makes an extra 5, 10, 15K, they're not excited.
Yeah,
They're really not, right? But then I have clients that make an extra $3,000 a month, but they get to either cut down their work completely, which I don't recommend ever. But some end up doing that. They can cut down their work and just start spending time with their kids and having a newborn, right? And being
yeah,
able to spend time. I think those are way more powerful than the clients that make a lot more, because they just simply have more and it's just like a side business for them. Whereas the clients that have a normal job, right? They have a not a
9 to 5.
9 to
Yeah,
5, right? They make a few extra $1,000 a month. They don't have to worry about paying their mortgage or their rent, and they could just spend more time with their family. Those are the ones that I look for the most. And like, for instance, I had a private contractor in back in Afghanistan. He wasn't in the military, but was contracted out there. And when Biden stepped into office, that company ended up getting shut down. But
oh
he was
wow,
coming home and he called me, and we're talking. I'm like, wait, you lost your job? He's like, oh, dude, it's all good. You got me covered. And I'm like,
wow, no,
wow.
no pressure, right?
And I didn't even know his store was doing that well. Just simply because I can't look at every store every
Yeah.
day, but it was like mind blowing to me. That's like one of the coolest stories I think of when I think about client successes.
So what's your revenue model? Your revenue model to service these accounts, have a profit share, revenue share, and then ride it out. Are you offering courses on top of it, or just sticking with the actual implementation at the moment?
I, my team keeps asking me to do a course, but I'm not a big fan of it. 'Cause there's just so much information out there. It's already there.
Congratulations, Vlad. Because you're too busy. I'm gonna say it, fucking doing it. Versus guys that have the courses. Like for example, there was a guy that had an Amazon course, and I found out he wasn't good at Amazon. He was good at selling Amazon courses, right? So
Yeah.
I'm glad. Sorry to curse, but I'm glad that you are doing it and not talking about it. Okay, cool. All
Well,
right.
don't get me wrong. So like, I buy all the courses. I have all these courses,
Yeah.
and even if they're bullshit, right? They still have some value in it. They maybe describe
No, I'm
something.
not knocking the courses. I remember there was a course and I'm like, great, show me your Amazon store and show me the review. And he was like, no, but I don't do that. I'm like, well, you're selling me a $2,000 course on how to be successful on Amazon, but you're not successful on Amazon yourself. I'm just a little sensitive to that stuff. I'm more of a doer than an educator. So I respect educators, but I just think in this space you should walk the walk. So when people are listening to this on iTunes or watching on YouTube, what type of person should reach out to you?
Well, busy professionals or individuals that are crushing it in their business.
Yeah,
This is a cash heavy business, so
yeah,
we don't. I don't want people going out and taking a loan to start this. This is not
correct,
what you
correct.
if you don't have at least 30K liquid, if you don't
Yeah,
have a credit card or an additional 30, 40K for inventory, I just don't do it. There's plenty of other ways to make money, plenty
yeah,
of other businesses, and a person that understands long term, right? What in this business, what can go wrong almost always does,
that's
right?
right.
Like
That's right.
Amazon can change a policy at any second.
Yep.
Suppliers can send to the wrong address and completely delay your order for a few weeks, right? It's insane, but we get through it. And as long as you understand this is a business, there's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, and you're okay with that, then you're good.
What excites you most about the space right now?
Really seeing, because obviously I was way too young for '08, the market correction,
Yeah,
and what excites me is to see how it's going to play out with what we're about to face or are facing. No one's really clear on that. With the recession, right? Are people going to really suffer like they did before?
correct.
Is our online sales gonna plummet, or are they gonna take over because no one wants to spend money on gas and travel? They're just sitting at home and don't even have a job, but they can purchase something on Amazon.
Correct.
Seeing how that plays out, that kind of excites me because then now I'm thinking in completely different ways. What kind of products we should be selling.
Yep.
Like what no matter what happens, like what are people going to buy? People are going to buy food, they're going to buy ammo, they're going to buy self-defense,
Correct.
whatever, right? So like it gets me in that mind of thinking what's going to always last.
Well, that's one of the things that's attractive about your space, right? So did a little research before we jumped on today. So if you have my store and you're running it and you're buying for supplier A and selling it through channel B, if things change a little bit and you guys see that trend, you could approach me and be like, hey, we want to sell product C in channel D because the economy is going to go slow. Great, let's try. You test it out, it works. Vlad, as a business owner, I can't just pivot like that quickly. If I have a brand or a product or a service, even I can't just add a new service if I'm not educated or trained it. So I like the flexibility in that. I like the fact that it's an automated system, if you will. So let everybody know how can we find Enopoly. We have most of our listeners are mobile, so they'll probably check it out because they're driving. But how can people find Enopoly?
Yeah, 100%. The easiest way is just type in eNopolyautomation.com. Enopoly, just like a monopoly, it's just an online monopoly. eNopolyautomation.com. Or simply you might be able to just type in Enopoly and be able to find it.
I love it. And again, Vlad, I want to pay a compliment that I'm 46 years old, and it's not for things that you said are your truth. Like, hey, I'm in business to make money. It's not a dirty thing. I'm gonna, how you have an automated business, you kind of sit back and hang out. We'll do the rest. Like these are all things that it took me a very long time to overcome. Again, one is, oh, you got to make money, but you need to, blah blah blah. No, it's okay to make money, right? And then you figure out the rest, right? Number two, it's okay to make money without working. Like I come from a family of immigrants. Like I feel like dirty at times getting passive income. I'm like, I made this money, let me like do something for it. And I'm like,
I completely
okay.
agree. I mean, I came to the United States when I was 8 years old. My mother was a physician. My grandfather's a dentist. My grandmother a dentist. My
Oh,
father.
professionals, yeah.
I'm over here dropping out of college, and I'm like, it took me a long time to not feel guilty about that, and it took me a long time to realize like, okay, well, my mom told me to do this, my family to do this, but I'm much younger, much more successful, well, financially, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And they are.
No, and that's okay. And that's the American way.
Yeah, and that's the beauty. That's why I love living in the United States. I mean, there's no other country like that.
That's right. And that's what makes your country great. Vlad, thank you so much. Check out Enopoly for those on iTunes. I'm going to put a link below. Those on YouTube, put a link below. And Vlad, thank you for being on the New Theory podcast, brother.
Of course. Thanks so much for having me.
My pleasure.